So here we are. I think this is the fifth live stream. Oh no, the third live stream, the fifth vlog I have created today. And here I am making notes about how you set this thing up. Although I don't understand what this means. Where did I get it from? Here we are. I think this is the fifth, oh I know, live stream, oh no, the third live streaming event, the fifth vlog. So what you just heard was the this vlog going live down to YouTube and then being broadcast back up to a browser, and then you heard it with a slight delay. I've closed that tab in the browser now. We don't want to hear that. But at least it works. Right. So here it says if they have Skype account, if they have Google account, I don't know. Oh, right. So here I've made notes about how to use YouTube streaming, and in those days I was using XSplit. I don't use XSplit anymore because it costs money, and OBS is free, although OBS is slightly flaky. Sometimes the camera looks blank, and in fact if OBS... let's not go there again. Right, so I can close that now. Save and close. It's better to save and close rather than close and then be prompted to save, because when you're prompted to save you can sometimes accidentally press cancel, at which point you lose your work. I'm not happy if I lose my work. Life is too short. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, oh dear, my work. So if you have a look at this right hand screen here, I'm using 3 screens, but the left hand screen has got OBS running on it. I need a 4th screen for OBS. It's on the shopping list, and so I click into, so on my desktop I've got folders which include all sorts of information, including stuff about Time Crystal, and there is Time Crystal spreadsheet. And here we have one of the 2 most important spreadsheets for Time Crystal. This is a record of what every fragment, here are the fragments across the top, they're numbered, and then the name, the labels that Francesco gives them, the changing labels and so on. Down the left hand side we have the episodes, volume. So at the moment I'm working on volume 3, episode 65. Francesco copied his notebook, copied the map into the notebook. In fact, that was what I was doing the last time I was working on this project. And here it says work in progress over here. See that? That's good, isn't it? Windows gives you that. Press the control button, set one of the settings, and you can get a circle to flash when you press control. I don't know which setting it is. Anyway, it's useful for somebody like me who wants to highlight where the cursor is. So, oh dear. I'm currently working on episode 69, as I explained in the previous vlog. But the question is, why? Well, clearly, when somebody looks into G2, what do they see, is the question. And they see Danny holding this crystal. So question now is, did Francesco look into G2 in episode 65? So if I go to 65, oh, I need to change, sorry, I need a producer. This is the middle screen. So if I search even for G2, no. So the answer is, if you look down here, when Francesco drew his map, he said Crystal G2 used to be owned by George. I don't know who owns it anymore. And so he leaves it at black. And that's why it says work in progress here. Here. I need to switch to the right screen. So yeah, here. What I want is for OBS to automatically follow the cursor. I don't think it does that, but for nothing it's pretty good. Okay, so that's no longer a work in progress. I've resolved that Francesco could not answer that question. And in fact, it turns out that this crystal is owned by Danny. You see here, D stands for Danny. Okay, so I go back to where I was working, come back to the middle screen. Oh boy, I wonder if I'm ever going to have the patience to keep doing this. Most of the time I'm using this middle screen, that's for sure. So yeah, all I need to do now is to just check whether G2 is mentioned in this episode 60. Oh! '69, yeah. Yeah, here we are, we've actually done it. I have a comment in here, look. It says, F, this should be written in the comments, written in the main text, but this is actually a comment. F wants to know if G2 still sees black. Exactly the question that the WIP was there to mark. Very good. So I can now stop worrying about that. And just for the moment, go back to, I can't see me carrying on with this, I really can't. It's far too much trouble. And nobody's going to watch it anyway, so why do I bother? Okay, so episode 65, 69 now. Ah! So what happens now is that I go back to my timer. I use a thing called toggle to record my work. So I've stopped working on episode 65. I'm working on episode 69. So it says episode 69 and vlog. And the project is Time Crystal. It's useful. If I see myself working at 70 hours a week, I know I'm doing too much. You know. And 20 hours is probably too little. Okay, so back to the middle screen. I guess I might get into the habit of doing this. Okay, let's go. Editing.
What time do you make it now? Martin frowned and checked his watch. 11:34. Okay, Francesco said. For you it's 11:34 on Thursday, the 5th of April, 10 minutes after time stopped. For me, just explain what you mean by that, exactly. The exasperation in Martin's voice was combined with 4 minutes. He checked his...
Okay, so the exasperation in Martin's voice, so it's Martin's point of view, was combined with amusement, this is what I was going to say,
There is a calendar reminder which is awaiting your attention. Mr. Seagrave.
Forgot to turn my mobile phone off. I'll put it to silent. It's one of the rules. You see, I'm not used to this vlogging business. I got a fixed, what do you call this? A wireless for the fixed line phone line. I'm going to stop. I'll probably restart this in a few minutes, but I'm going to go and make a cup of coffee. Okay, so I didn't actually make a cup of coffee, I just warmed up the 70 mils that were left in the bottom of the cup. And what I need, actually, of course, is a notice that says, "Come to make coffee, back soon." And then why do I do this? Why do I do all this? I must be absolutely crazy. Mind you, I'm crazy to do all this work anyway, I know that. So, we don't want shading, no colour, okay. We want the font to be large and central. Is that big enough? And then I want several of those. So I want a break before and I probably want a decent okay, so now I want to save that. So that will, when I go away, I will leave that on the screen. Be nice to have it flashing or something, wouldn't it? But never mind. I can easily edit that message and have several by just inserting a new one. Like that. To set it as, and also open. All I need to do is save it on the desktop as messages, vlog messages. Okay. and then just find that message. And put it somewhere where I can find it easily. Okay, so back to work. Maybe I don't want to work, maybe that's why I'm doing all this stuff. Just explain what you mean by that exactly. The exasperation in Martin's voice was combined with amusement at Fresco's naivety. At believing this nonsense. Such nonsense. Now the other thing is, I have, this is going to make life even more complicated. I have recently bought Dragon Naturally Speaking, which I've just started to run, because I hadn't started it before, obviously. And the idea is that I can talk, still initializing, and dictate. So we turn the microphone on. It turned itself back off again. You know, I don't think this is going to work. I think that Dragon falls over when it's working on... Oh, no, it's still starting up. Oh, it's done something. I mean, that is really going to slow the whole process. I think it's given up. It's not working. It's not. Well, it got the word no. Oh! Now it's written. I don't think this is going to. But it is rather laborious. Let me just have a look at the so-called task manager. So I'm using 82% of the CPU of this. This is quite a powerful system. Word is using 26%. OBS is using 15%. Actually, so Dragon's not using that much. But the machine is... The machine is... Oh! Oh dear, dear, dear. All sorts of stuff. Dragon is using variable amounts. It's now 4.2%. Okay. So where do we... I mean, all this stuff. You see, I cannot be dealing with a machine that doesn't work, that doesn't respond practically instantly to what I want. And this, with Dragon, a 300,000 word document, and OBS streaming live, You know, it's just all too much. Even, I mean, there's something called Dragon Pad, yeah, which is here. So let me just get things so I can see. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la la la. Okay, that's a bit better. So here's Dragon Pad. So if I turn the mic back on, so Martin is talking. There you are, you see. Dragon is working and responding like it should, instantly. So the problem with it was it just could not edit a 300,000 word document with Dragon. Okay, let's get rid of this and start again. Quotes, and you'd have to say single. I need to put the quotes in by hand later on. But at least I'll get some of the text down, hopefully. Okay, here we go. Full stop. Let me show you a little experiment. Full stop. Okay, so what I'm going to do is put that in here, because that actually, by making that change, it significantly, oh, quotes go outside the comma, no, yeah. And it says they will, and it should be let me show you a little experiment. I could have typed that much quicker, of course. First thing I learned to do when I left university was to drive and to touch type.
That's it. Now I'll put your watch on your desk.
Okay, so that introduces Francesco's watch. So that's looking good. This block, maybe I ought to take that out. I guess I can actually use Dragon Pad to hold that. I'm a bit wary of using Dragon Pad because it doesn't keep an accurate track of the stuff that you've done. That's the trouble. If you oh shit, if you I should have said no there. If you make a change in Dragon Pad and try and there's no undo history, yeah, it's not a decent word processor. So I have a dictation document. Oh. Okay, so I've been doing other dictation along the way. Kula Mazula. I'm trying to cheer myself up. So, I can understand your skepticism, Francesco said. Let me show you a little experiment. Kindly set your watch to be the same as mine. I'd rather do it within towns the same time as all the other survivors. Okay, So those words are going to ring a bell with Martin, aren't they? So he's going to say, survivors, other survivors, how many are there? So I'm typing into the document I'm supposed to be editing, and Dragon's just sitting there twiddling its thumbs. I need 3 documents. Oh dear. Dragon just does not cope with 300,000 words. Oh well. I don't know why. Pity. It's a pity, mate. But the CPU's down to 60-70% now. It was over 80 when I was trying to edit this with Dragon. Okay, other survivors, Martin says. How many are there? Oh, I'm not sure. He doesn't know. About 10. So he says, oh, about 10. Please just set your watch to 11:34. Right. Now I'll put... Give it to me. And I'll put it on your desk. So now Martin, the original text was talking about Francesco's crystal. Now Francesco's crystal was mentioned over here. So it's not 11:34, it's 9:22. Oh God, this is turning into a long-winded thing, isn't it? So no, he doesn't ask why 9:22. It's not only too long-winded, he just wouldn't ask. And on to it. Okay, so the original text was this. Let's go with this. Oh, Goes that when it's already reading something. Text aloud's playing me up.
There is a calendar.
Okay, so text aloud works now. Try again.
Bible. What Bible? You haven't noticed? Francesco said, nodding back towards the door of Martin's office. Martin looked across the sea of books and scientific papers which littered the floor, and saw, instead of the door, a strange red and green curving surface, its pattern constantly changing, glistening like a soap bubble. In spite of his stress, Martin...
Okay, so now, instead of having them look towards the door, I want to have them look towards the desk, because that's where Francesco is going to go. The story has slightly changed. That's fine.
Martin could not help but admire its beauty. It was like something he might have seen while smoking marijuana, a habit he had acquired in his student days and continued occasionally throughout his life. But this was no drug-induced illusion, and his keen scientific mind immediately began to search for explanations of this extraordinary physical phenomenon. And his curiosity and amazement only increased as Francesco began his explanation. Every crystal is surrounded by a bubble of time, Martin, which...
Okay, so that can come in here almost as it stands. So if I cut that out of the temporary buffer thing, stick it in here, So I've got Martin watched in awe. See, this is where he refers first to the desk, where Francesco flies to the desk. Doesn't help that I know this story or this episode fairly well and you don't. Mr. Madam Viewer, of which I'm sure there are thousands. It's nearly time for my apple. 10:30, apple time. Oh dear. Okay, so let's take that bit of text and stick it up here somewhere. So, this is where... Let's see if you can dictate this. Francisco took another fragment of crystal out of his pocket. Well, he took the Martin's watch comma, took
Francesco took Martin's watch, took another fragment of crystal out of his pocket.
comma, did something to it, and okay, so that goes in here. Can't dictate into here. It doesn't help, but I've just started using Dragon. I think I bought it a couple of weeks ago, although I haven't used it very much. And I haven't really had any experience of using it to edit this document. And this, I don't think I've quite got the right system yet. Never mind.
Francesco took Martin's watch, took another fragment of crystal out of his pocket, did something to it, and Martin watched and all as he spun round in the air and flew away toward.
I've got watch, Martin's watch, and Martin watched in awe. I don't like that. So let's take that Martin watched in awe. Out. And stick it in here. So let's try that.
Francesco took Martin's watch, took another fragment of crystal out of his pocket, did something to it, spun round in the air, and flew away towards Martin's desk. At least, there should have been a window.
Should have been a desk.
At least, there should have been a desk there, but all Martin could see behind his desk was another group.
Could see was a curving coloured surface halfway down his office. So that's where Martin first notices the bubble. Up to this point, Martin has not noticed the bubble. There's been so many other things going on, he just hasn't noticed. Right. So we don't need that. And he doesn't actually call it a bubble at this point. So before he flies away, he spun round to face Martin's desk. At least there should have been a desk there. But instead, halfway down his office, Martin suddenly noticed for the first time a curving coloured surface stretching from wall to wall, from floor to ceiling. Blocking the view. Now this, Martin looked across the sea of books and scientific papers which littered the floor. I like that because it tells you something about Martin's personality. So I want to keep that, so I'll save that. I will try. Oh! I will try and open the vlog messages. I will put a marker so that I can easily find vlog messages in the future. Gone to make coffee. Go for a comfort break. Gone to get an apple. Back soon. And I will leave this, live stream running. Why not? I don't know if there's a limit. I guess there must be a limit. Mind you, I guess it would be interesting if we showed a video. Yeah, another day. Or should I stop the stream? What do you think? Yeah, stop.